Everyone tells you to network. Almost nobody teaches you how to do it in a way that actually creates opportunities. Today, I'm going to tell you how a casual lunch conversation landed me a guest spot at a major comedy club, despite having almost no stand up experience. I did what I'm going to teach you today, which is the share approach to networking. By the end of today's episode, you're going to learn 5 principles you can practice to be authentic, build relationships, and get great opportunities just by doing networking you can feel good about. Let's do it. Welcome to the Establish Yourself podcast, the show that helps coaches and consultants get clear on how to talk about what you do, simplify your offers, and have more fun in your business and beyond. I'm Annie Franceschi, brand strategist, author, former Disney storyteller, and forever Muppet fan. I'm here to help you clarify your message, package your expertise, and streamline your systems to grow a business you actually enjoy. If you're ready for less confusion and more magic, it's time to establish yourself. Waka waka, welcome back. If you've been listening to the show, you may have had a little bit of a hint of the story I'm about to tell you. Since the fall, I have been taking action on sort of a lifelong back of my brain dream to try stand up comedy. Now, I've been speaking for more than a decade, but ever since I was a little girl, I've just loved stand up comedy. Eddie Izzard, John Mulaney, Mike Birbiglia, some of my favorites. But I never really thought I could do it. But just this fall, I was inspired when I met a woman named Kiki Wins. She is an entrepreneur and she was speaking at an event I was speaking at. But what caught my eye is that she was sharing about a comedy show that she was the headliner for. I was like, whoa, she can be a business owner and a stand up comedian. Maybe I could do the same. And that got my gears turning. So this past fall, I took a 5-week stand up comedy class. I started on open mics this year in January and February. And I just had this nagging feeling that I should reach out to her and one, thank her for the inspiration, but two, maybe we could collaborate. Maybe we could do something together. So I asked her to lunch. I treated her, shared a bit about what I was working on and my journey with stand up comedy so far, and even brought along an idea for us to collaborate. I'm thinking of putting together a networking event that features stand up comedy. In the course of our conversation, I made sure to mention what my comedy was about and what I cared about, and that I was hopefully going to share doing comedy here in the area, in the Raleigh Durham area, with my audience, with you, with my email list to invite them to come and see me do this sort of hobby. And Kiki loved the idea of us collaborating on an event, but what happened next, I could not have predicted. She said, send me your comedy. I'd love to see. And I sent her a video that I had done just the week before. It was a brand new set. I'd only done it one time. And, it was fine. Like it was my third open mic ever. And I couldn't believe that she texted me back and said, "This is great. Do you want to have a guest spot at my show at Good Nights?" Good Nights Comedy Club is a nationally known venue. It is a place where most comedians will come through at some point on their tour. It is the place where people like Jerry Seinfeld and even Robin Williams have graced the stage. And yours truly will be there on April 9th in Raleigh, North Carolina. I will put the link in the show notes, but Kiki offered me a guest 5-minute spot as a part of her Ladies Laugh Lounge show. So I'm so excited to invite you. If you want to come to the Triangle or you happen to live here, come on out. You can meet my husband and some of my friends and be what I call reverse hecklers. Reverse hecklers are people who are going to do the opposite of heckling and probably laugh a little too hard at your jokes, right? No pressure, no pressure. But this is an incredible opportunity and was not even on my radar. But it's something I've been thinking about that I wanted to teach you because I know there's so much out there about networking and having coffee dates and lunch dates with people. And maybe you're like me at the beginning of my business where I would do all these conversations and they wouldn't turn into anything. And I was sort of flabbergasted as to why. And what I realized that there is a set of principles here that should be talked about more. And so I've put them together for you as what I call the share approach to networking. So, if you are someone who would love to get opportunities like this for your business, I'm going to teach you 5 things to do when it comes to sharing. These are 5 things I literally practiced in my conversation with Kiki, naturally, not trying to kind of force any opportunities. And that is how I was able to get an incredible stand up comedy opportunity despite being pretty new to the game. All right, you ready? Let's break it down. This is the share approach to networking. 5 ways of sharing yourself that turn conversations into opportunities. The first is share voluntarily. I have really struggled with this. I am a recovering people pleaser, and it is really not natural for me to sit down and have a conversation with someone and talk about myself unless I am asked. And this is something I have had to unlearn both in my personal and my professional life because I've been on the receiving end of too many conversations where I just ask a bunch of questions, they never ask about me, and no sharing actually happens. Now, this will happen with some people who are just not good fits for you to sit down with, but it'll also happen with great people because some people just won't pull the story out of you. And I want to encourage you to speak up, to volunteer what's going on with you. I think it's fine to start with the other person. I still tend to do that, but a lot has changed for me in terms of opportunities in my business and beyond, just from my willingness to speak up voluntarily, to share voluntarily about myself, right? So that is the first piece of this is that when you are thinking about these networking conversations, do not wait for someone to ask you what is going on in your business, what you are working on, what you are excited about. Offer it up. If it makes you feel more comfortable, start with them, but don't forget to talk about you. If you wait to be asked, you may never be discovered. The second share here is share clearly. So, what I often see is that people will have these conversations and then be like, I didn't get any opportunities. And I'll go, well, did you talk about what you do, who it's for, and how to work with you? This is important in especially new conversations, but you wouldn't believe conversations how many I have that are with people I've worked with for years and years. You want to volunteer and speak up clearly about what's going on in your business. We can't assume that people know. And this is critically important that you mention what you are currently doing, like what's your main offer, what's the work you're doing right now, who is that offer the greatest fit for, and what is the next step if someone is interested. I don't mean you're pitching the person across from you. I do mean saying something like, yes, I have this new leadership program. It's a perfect fit for folks who lead teams of 3 to 5, and people who are interested can get a free consultation with me. Great. Something like that. It's even better if you can talk a little bit more about what that leader might be experiencing, what problems they're having, what you're doing in that solution that helps them overcome those problems. I have great episodes of the podcast that get into this. I also do this work. So if you're not clear on what you do, who it's for, and how to work with you, I help you do that. So be sure to set a free time with me. But that's really important. You want to talk, but you also want to mention what's actually going on in your world. That is a lot of what led to the opportunity at Goodnights with Kiki. When we had our conversation, when we had our lunch, I did not know she had a guest spot. I did not know she was even looking for people for the show or even that the show necessarily existed. One of the reasons I got it was that I spoke up in our conversation and I told her clearly about my goals for comedy and what I was doing and what I thought was funny and how I was looking for an opportunity and was thinking I was going to plan something on my own so that I could invite people that were excited to come see me speak. Right? I was sharing very clearly what was going on. So, when you do that, when you equip the person across from you with some more information and you come across as very clear on what it is you're doing, that instills confidence and trust, even and especially with a new person. Opportunities can't happen if people don't know what you're working on. This still happens to me. I still have to remind myself to volunteer what is going on and what I'm excited about. Clarity creates opportunity. If people can't explain what you do, they can't refer you. The third share here is share generously. This is an easy one to overlook, but so important. I strongly believe that one of the reasons that I got this opportunity in the first place was that The whole thing started as a thank you. I genuinely wanted to meet Kiki. I wanted to hear her story. I was very clear that when I reached out, that I did not want to pick her brain or get her free comedy coaching, because she does do that as paid offers. And that drives me nuts when people ask me to coffee to pick my brain. So I was like, I would love to treat you to lunch. And the big reason was to thank her, to genuinely thank her for the inspiration that she was out there living this life and talking about it. She was talking clearly when I met her at the conference back in the fall about what she was doing. And that inspired me, right? The other piece of sharing generously here is my only other agenda item to talk to her was to share this idea I'd had for a while of doing some sort of a networking event where I would do comedy and maybe she could do comedy. So I came to the table to our conversation with something that could potentially help her, that could put a spotlight on her, that could feature her, that could be something she would care about. You may not always know this when you're having a conversation with someone, but I encourage you to think about how you could share generously. This in a business setting looks like, are there people in your network that the person across from you would love to meet or would be a good friend of? Is there a podcast you just listened to that you think they would love? Is there an opportunity for you to collaborate? One of the ways I've been loving doing this is something called a lead magnet swap. That's where you each write a letter to your own email list about the other's freebie. It's super fast, it's super simple, and it's a great way to add some value to the person across from you, whether they're on Zoom or in person. So share generously. The fourth principle here is share imperfectly. And I know you may squirm on this. And I mean, share imperfectly, share works in progress. Don't wait until they are perfect. And for me, what this looked like in my conversation with Kiki is sending her the video of my comedy. I sent her a 5-minute set that I had literally done the week before, and it was the only time I had done that set. It was brand new. It was not perfect by a long shot. It was not the best audio. It was not the best anything. And I felt really a little intimidated. She's been doing comedy for like 3 years. Like, what is she going to say? She offered at lunch to look at it. She said, please send it to me. And what did I do? I sent it to her. And that was the thing that got me the invite at Goodnights. She didn't even bring it up in our lunch. It was me sending the video. So for you, what this may look like is your willingness to follow up with something, is to send something that you've talked about. Maybe it is a one pager about your work. I teach people how to create these, like an offer one pager of your main offer. It could be just a link to your website. It could be your LinkedIn profile. It could be something you're excited about working on, a new lead magnet, something that you talked about that they want to see. Follow up, share it. At minimum, what you want to do is follow up and say, it was so great to meet you. Here's a little bit about me in case you come across someone who would be a good fit for what I do. And you include your 3-sentence referral message. That is essentially a reverse elevator pitch that makes it super fast and easy for someone you know to introduce you to someone you don't. I have a free tool for this. It's called the Referral Message Creator. So if you don't know where to start with creating something like that and you want to make the most of your networking, go check it out. It's at greateststorycreative.com/message. I'll put a link in the show notes. But that's what I mean by share imperfectly. If I had not been brave enough to share my very rough 5-minute set, this opportunity wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have even known it existed. It was a pulling together of all of this. And that brings me around to our last but not least share principle: share promptly. This is actually the one that matters most. If you share voluntarily, clearly, generously, imperfectly, but you wait 3 weeks to do it, you have potentially missed the boat, right? And I know there's a lot of reasons we worry we're going to bother people. We worry like, oh, were they really serious about wanting to help us? Like, yes, they were. And we need to be proactive. And when you are prompt, when you are professional, when you follow up quickly, I sent Kiki that video, I don't know, 5 minutes after she left our lunch, and then was blown away that I got this opportunity. But that didn't happen by accident. And that's one of the reasons I created this referral message tool, so that you have something ready to go that you don't have to think about, that may not be perfect. right? But you can send it promptly. You can send it right after you meet with someone. And that early bird gets the worm is true every single time. There's that quote that's like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Okay. That opportunity didn't come from pitching, it came from just sharing. So that's what I want to teach you to do here. And if any of this is stuff that you struggle with, this is my zone of genius. I do help people like you package your process so you can show up to conversations like this and feel like you can speak clearly about what you do and that you have something tangible to follow up promptly with. So, if you want to have a conversation about that, you can grab a 20-minute conversation with me right now at greateststorycreative.com/consult. So, let's recap the share approach to networking. Share voluntarily, clearly, generously, imperfectly, and promptly. If you practice these 5 habits, you'll start to see more conversations turn into real opportunities and lifelong relationships. Networking isn't about impressing people, it's about sharing who you are, what you're building, and helping others do the same. If you hold these principles close, maybe even jot them down in your notebook and take them to your next coffee date, you're going to love what's going to happen next. You might even end up on a comedy stage. Hey, do you like surprises? The credits are about to roll, but just like a Marvel movie, stick around to the end for something I put in just for you. Thanks for listening to the Establish Yourself podcast. I'm Annie Franceschi, and if you're enjoying the show, it would mean so much to me if you follow it, leave a quick rating, or share it with a friend. And for free branding resources and more ways to work together, head to greateststorycreative.com/podcast. Now here it is, your moment of magic. So I've challenged myself to write a 5-minute set that is solely about the Muppets, and I'm going to run a joke by you. So tell me what you think. Gonzo is well known for being shot out of a cannon, and I feel like we should bring that back. I feel like there are a lot of people that we probably should be shooting out of a cannon. I have a list. Do you have a list? Who's on your list? I bet our lists are similar.